For years, let's be honest, the NBA All-Star Game was kinda broken. It was a game with no defense, no stakes, just not a lot of fun to watch. But this year, something totally shifted. So let's break down how the NBA, against all odds, just saved its All-Star Game.
And wow, that quote from Kendrick Perkins, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The number one complaint, the thing everyone was talking about, was the lack of competition. But after this year's new format, the feeling was unanimous. The fire was back.
So, here's what we're gonna do. First, we'll get into the problem the league had to solve, and the pretty genius recipe they cooked up to fix it. Then we're gonna zoom in on 3 superstars whose weekends were totally defined by this new setup: Anthony Edwards, Kawhi Leonard, and of course the king himself, LeBron James.
Okay, so what exactly was so broken? Well, for a long time, the All-Star Game had basically turned into a glorified layup line, you know? It was just completely missing that intensity, that fire that makes us all love basketball in the first place.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? We went from these absurd video game scores that were totally meaningless to gritty, tight, down-to-the-wire finishes. We went from absolutely zero defense to guys actually getting after it. It was a complete 180 for the game's entire identity.
So the big question is, how on earth did the league pull this off? How did they manage this incredible turnaround? Well, it wasn't just some small tweak to the rules. No. They engineered a whole new recipe for creating some real excitement.
And it was actually a pretty simple but totally brilliant 3-part plan. Step 1, you create 3 separate teams. Step 2, you have them play a quick little round-robin tournament. And step 3, and this is the secret sauce right here, you make the games super short. That forced everyone to play hard from the jump. No time to mess around.
You know, as analyst Brian Windhorst said, the league was basically playing mind tricks on the players. They tapped into that classic USA versus the world patriotism. They created a natural rivalry between the young guns and the established vets. And right from the opening tip, you had Wemby playing with this infectious energy that just set the tone for the entire night.
And what happens when you create this kind of high-stakes, high-energy environment? Well, you create the perfect stage for a rising star to make his claim as one of the new faces of the league. So let's talk about Anthony Edwards.
And he said it himself. Ant-Man was not there to just hang out. He knew a lot of people just saw him as this highlight reel of dunks. So he came in on a mission. He was there to show the world his all-around game, and he wanted to prove a point on the biggest stage.
And man, did he ever prove it. He dropped 32 points across the games, playing with a competitive fire that was just impossible to ignore. His performance was so dominant, he walked away with the MVP award, really cementing his status as a certified superstar.
And that's really the bottom line here. Anthony Edwards isn't just a great player. With his magnetic personality and that competitive fire, he is exactly the kind of superstar the league can and should build its future around. But, you know, while one star's future seemed to get crystal clear, another's got a lot more complicated. And that brings us to the beautiful but bittersweet tragedy of Kawhi Leonard's performance.
Just look at that number. It's almost hard to believe. 31 points in a single 12-minute game. He missed only 2 shots. It was just an absolutely masterful display of scoring and a huge reminder that when he's healthy, Kawhi is still one of the most unstoppable forces in basketball.
He looked the best he has in his entire time as a Clipper, and the home crowd was going absolutely wild for him. So, you're probably asking, why on earth are we calling this a tragedy?
Well, here's the painful irony. Just as Kawhi hits this unbelievable MVP-level peak, his team seems to be looking toward the future. By trading away key guys for draft picks, the Clippers are kind of signaling a pivot, right when their star is shining his absolute brightest. For the fans, it's just this tragic case of what might have been.
And of course, you know we can't have an All-Star weekend without talking about LeBron James and the massive question mark that now hangs over his legendary career. When he was asked directly about his plans after this season, LeBron gave that classic, non-committal answer. But let's be real, he knows exactly what he's doing. By saying, "I have no idea," he's thrown the entire league, every front office, every fan base, into a frenzy of speculation about his next move.
And according to the experts, 2 main paths seem the most likely. Path 1, a massive season-long farewell tour, celebrating his career in a Lakers uniform. Or Path 2, the poetic, storybook return to Cleveland, to finish his career right where it all started.
But it all really boils down to these 2 questions. First, does he feel like his body and mind can handle another grueling season? And second, and this is the big one, is he willing to take a pay cut? Because a yes to that second question would open up a whole world of possibilities for contending teams like Cleveland.
So, as one star in Anthony Edwards cements his future and another in Kawhi Leonard shines in the middle of all this uncertainty, we're left to wonder about the greatest of them all. You know, LeBron's decision won't just define the end of his own career, it could reshape the entire league. So, where does the Kings' final chapter belong? That's the question we'll leave you with, and that's it for this explainer.